Well, hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. If you haven't been here before, my name is Jane and I am a textile artist, and normally I am based in the heart of beautiful Scotland. But at the moment, and for the next few weeks, I am in Naples in Italy, and I came here for a month last year and it did me so much good. You can see all of the videos about that in a playlist here. It did me so much good that as I left last year, I rebooked for this year. So here I am, and I am sitting on my balcony. I have gone and foraged some flowers from a derelict park. It's between here and the sea, and my view is over Mount Vesuvius and the Bay of Naples and Capri. It's pretty idyllic, and this 4 weeks on my own in Naples is something that just somehow sets me up for the rest of the year. It's somewhere I'm so happy to be, and it's warm, which Scotland definitely wasn't when I left, and it just takes me over that February, early March bump where I'm raring to go with the season, but you can't really do much in Scotland unless you're growing under plastic. So here I am. Now, what I wanted to talk about this week was, is it selfish for me to do this, to come here for 4 weeks on my own, leave everything else in Scotland, and do something because I want to do it? And the reason that I ask this question is that last year, shortly after I had got back, I was at our local vegetable farm. It's kind of like you go there and buy my groceries on a Friday afternoon. And there I met somebody who I know very, very vaguely. It's sort of school gate, primary school gate thing. And she said that she'd seen that I'd been away and had a good time, and I was looking very well and all of that kind of thing. And then she said, but I don't think that I could be that selfish. Now, I don't think that she intended that to sound as it did. I don't think that she was meaning to be rude or judgmental. I think that it was just one of those things that came blurting out without filters, accidentally. I mean, the conversation ended pretty quickly after that. But it got me thinking, because as far as I'm concerned, I don't really inconvenience anybody coming here. You know, my children are grown up, they're in their 20s, they live in London. They're absolutely delighted that I come out here and I do something for myself and it's outside my comfort zone and I'm traveling. My husband is an adult. Ewan is perfectly capable of looking after himself for 4 weeks, and yes, he might miss me. I miss him. You know, I go around the streets here and I take photographs of things that I'm sure he would love. And he's coming out for a few days at the end and I will go around and show him them all. But I think that kind of missing and separation and excitement is probably really good in a marriage. I mean, we've been married over 30 years. We've been together since I was 18. I think it's good to be in a position where you meet each other and you're not on top of each other. So that's all good. My business, as I explained in other videos, I spent, almost a year changing the business bit by bit so that I can run it as long as I've got internet. So the Studio Club, which is my sort of creative online community, that's been running as normal. There's a course going. We've had our stitching bees. We've had sort of like a guest speaker. Still newsletters. There's kind of dispatches from Italy. It's exactly as it would be. Bloom, which is a kind of a mentoring course that I run, very small numbers, but to help people use this system that I got so that I change my life with a bit more freedom in some kind of area of their lives. That goes on. I've been doing my video replies to people. We've had a new moon journaling session. It's, it carries on as it carries on. And the only part of the business that has to shut is my online shop. But to be honest, at this point in sort of a creative cycle where we are in the middle of making something, so everybody already has the supplies if they were going to buy them from me, and then we're waiting to start the next thing, often at that point I'm pretty much sold out of everything in my shop anyway, so it makes very little difference. When I was looking at what this woman had said, that she could never see herself as being selfish enough to go off, I realised that actually what she was saying was that she couldn't see herself being selfish enough to ever do anything that she wanted to. And if you think about that she couldn't see her doing something for herself, that's something that she wanted to do without thinking that it was selfish, then that's crazy. But I also wonder how common it is, because certainly there is this whole kind of feeling, I think, lots of women, say particularly women with children, that you express love by doing everything for people, sort of like in a service kind of way. And I don't think that in Scotland, that whole Presbyterian-y kind of feel helps with that. Patriarchy probably doesn't help with that. The way that lots of women, particularly, I'm sure it's not a complete gender thing, but lots of women see martyrdom and giving things up and devoting themselves to other people's happiness as being kind of a higher way to live. And I do wonder whether this woman's perception that anything that she wanted to do for herself would be selfish is all tied up with that. And I would say that is one thing that, having had a chronic illness for 20 years, over 20 years now, it saved me from all of that, because when my children were growing up, I didn't do everything for them at all. They grew up doing things for themselves and, doing lots of things for me. And I think that has, in retrospect, been fantastic, because they grew up to be caring, capable, independent women who messaged me, I would say, from sort of Freshers' Weeks, incredulous that there were classes on how to use a washing machine or how to cook pasta. And the letters came through and it was in brackets at the end, from a packet. So, maybe it's very, very general. And certainly, because I have always had a lack of stamina, I have never, ever pulled my full weight in chores. So maybe we can chalk that one up to the wonders of chronic illness. But then, as I thought more and more about this idea of selfishness, I thought actually the woman has got it completely the wrong way round, because actually not doing things that light you up is the most selfish thing that you could do. Stepping away from the things that you're led to by desire, or those things that your intuition just goes, I would love to do that. If you step away from that, if you squash them down, if you use the excuses of not wanting to be selfish to stop you from doing these things, you are actually dimming your light. And the reason that I say that, the reason that I say you really have to follow your desire, is that we need people, at the moment particularly, we need people who are lit up and motivated and shining bright. And I mean, we all know that our energy is really affected by external things hitting our emotions and then moving energy up and down. So I know that if I do something just careless, if I drop and break a favourite mug, or I have forgotten a friend's birthday completely, when I realise that, when it happens, there is an immediate drop in my energy. I can just feel it here. You know, you just think, oh, I can't be bothered with it. I mean, I need to go for a nap. I'm just so tired, I need to go for a nap. And it's nothing to do with actual empirical energy. It's just the way that your emotions control that. And the other thing, if somebody gives you a compliment or says, well done, or you do something and you think, I did that, you get this sort of rise in energy and it's a boost, and you feel that you could do anything. And this is the way that world works. And the more you can do things which boost energy and improve mood and help you be lit up, then the better. And it's not just in a selfish way that I mean. It's not just for ourselves. It's not just so that we can smile and feel good. It is the way that we connect. The way that we can actually change the world is by the way that we can change the world as individuals is by heightening this energy, this optimism, this connection, this sort of lightness, and letting other people see it, letting people see that we value ourselves, that we value each other, that we are prepared to do things that feel good, our adventures that we want to do, that we're not just prepared to keep a really low profile in the hope that nothing ever goes wrong and be a little bit soggy. We need to do the things that we want to do, go out of our comfort zones, try new things, be adventurous, and show other people, tell other people. Now, one of the things that I want to use as an example for this is, you might know that when I first started Snapdragon, it was a flower growing business. This is back in 2000, and I stopped my art curator job. I retrained in horticulture, and in 2000 I started a flower farm that I had for maybe about 10 years. And it was, successful. I did lots of farmers markets, I did weddings, I sent bouquets by post, I had kind of a farm gate kind of situation going on. I loved growing flowers. This was my dream. And then 2008, 2010, it became really clear that I was ill and I could no longer do the physical work that flower farming requires. And I stopped doing that, and I started sort of like ramping up the craft business and so on. But the flower farm is, in my head, I have always had it as, the failure or the dream that I had to give up. It's got all of this kind of connotations for me. And in fact, I didn't grow anything for about 7 years. The garden just grew up actually pretty much like the derelict park that I stole the flowers from. Beautiful, but definitely unkempt. And that is the box that I had put that business into. And then last October, I was contacted by Erin Benzakein, who runs Floret Flowers. And she asked whether I would be in a documentary that Floret is putting together, and it launched last week, and I'll put all of the links here. And it's called The Pursuit of Beauty, and it's really a documentaries, there's 3 of them, about the realities of flower farming, taking it away from that very Instagrammy kind of, let's just show you the beautiful pictures, to looking a bit more behind the scenes. And I had thought, because in my head my flower farming was a failure, I had thought that she had asked me to go on to chat about that. That she needed somebody who would be prepared to talk about flower farming being so difficult that they gave it up, without there being any repercussions. Because obviously, if you are wanting to still be a flower farmer, you probably don't want to put that out. I'm no longer a flower farmer, so that would be fine. So, but anyway, that was my assumptions when she contacted me. And then the way that these documentaries have been done is that they are all just interviews with Rob Finch, who is the producer. He's a lovely chap. And he sat in his garage. He was speaking to me, and I think it was 5 a.m. He was speaking to me. I was sort of like, woken up for the day, and it was still 5 a.m. with him, and he was trying to keep quite quiet because his kids were still asleep. And loveliest man, really great interviewer. And so we chatted, and it became very clear that he was asking me questions that were not just about so how do you feel about the failure of your flower farm business, kind of questions. And then last week he sent me an email, and just chatting about things, and he was saying that the reason that Erin had asked me to be in the documentary, and there had been a bit of the first email didn't arrive, so she was actually chasing me up because I hadn't replied. It gone into the ether somewhere. The reason that she was so keen to have me in the documentary was that my blog about starting a flower farm was the first flower farm blog that she had seen and read, and it opened up the possibility of this being a career. So that completely changed where I put flower farming in my categories in my head, because if my having been a flower farmer for a period of time was seen by Erin and inspired her, and she is an amazing flower farmer, and particularly she is now concentrating on seed development for other flower farmers, and she is nurturing a worldwide community of flower farmers. So to be a part of that completely changes where it is. And it showed me how the connections between what we do, even if we don't feel that they are very big or very successful, if they have passion and if they have sort of joy and commitment and love shining out of them, then they link to other people, and other people link to other people. And something like the worldwide vroom vroom vroom, this worldwide flower growing movement, which has so many repercussions for sustainability and wildlife, and is a genuinely amazing thing to think that even my failed attempt in Scotland has had something linking to that. So it firmly solidified in my head that the actual selfish thing for the world is to dim yourself, to not follow that pleasure, to not do the things. You know, whether the things are going to the cinema on your own, whether the things are, you know, meeting friends or going for a walk on the beach, or everybody has different things that they are drawn to, but drawn to through joy and pleasure and the need to be lit up. So I'm putting the link, I'll put the link as many places as I can to the Floret Flower documentary. And I shall see you next week. Bye bye.